Hi there, Jerry. I hope you're having a great weekend, and hope you're going to have a great Thanksgiving. This is your video lesson for today. Two things I want to talk about, and if you have questions at the end or want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot that over, and I will do my best to answer. So cool. So today what I want to go over is the continuation of writing solos and writing melodic material and having a theme and structure in your solo. Like we talked about last time, solos aren't you just noodling up and down the neck into infinity. If you look at solos, they're structured and things repeat a lot. Otherwise, this is too much new material. And then we'll talk today about how to take that A and that B and then expand upon that to make it like a longer solo. So the first thing is, the first rule is keep it simple, stupid, as my teacher would say to me. So the idea is that you want your A and your B to be nothing flashy, not like running up and down the neck, right? Something simple. So if I were to come up with an A, and you make it either 2 or 4 bars long, but you want it to be symmetrical. You don't want to go, 3 bars or 5 bars. You want to keep it 2 or 4. If I throw a backing track on, this is D minor to G7, so it's the same as the any color you like chords. And I'm going to use the D Dorian pentatonic for this one. Two, 3, 4. Right, so what I did there, I had 3 A's, roughly the same thing. I kind of made it up on the fly, so I think I might have embellished it. But you can do that though. So one thing you can do is you have your A, and we talked before, you can do A prime, where it's like almost the same thing, but not quite. As long as it's following generally the same thing. I just pick like 4 notes, right? If you can't do this with 4 notes, you should have no business doing it with 6 or 8 or 10. You want to keep it very simple. So the 4 notes I chose, with those 4 notes right there, everything I did was inside of there. So you should be able to easily do it with 4 notes, or even 1 note you should be able to do it with, right? So we have my first part. Right? That's catchy. All right, so you have your A right there. So what you do is you have your A, and then 2 bars long, and then you have your B, and the first rule is uses the same rhythm, but different notes. So the rhythm I had, bum, ba, ba, da, 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 da. So who? Right, so there's me just kind of making it up on the fly. I'll make it Dorian pentatonic. Right, so there's my B, using roughly the same rhythm if I remembered it right. Actually, I gotta write it down sometimes. Is using the same rhythm, but different notes will help your A and your B be a cohesive idea. Because if it's too different, they're not gonna jive well together. So what you want is you want your first A rhythm to match your B rhythm, but you can use different notes. Remember, this is just one tool. There's many tools to use to do with this, but we'll just go down the line and do like one lesson. So we have the first part. Let's put the backing track on. 3. So see there, those two ideas fit together really well because they're using the same rhythmic structure, just with different notes. They'll fit together, so they work, they jive. That way your ideas will all make sense as you put them in order, right? So that right there, if I play that one more time, let's see, where's the count on this thing right here? I'll start it with 1 minute, see how long my solo is. Or this part of the solo at least. 2, 3, 4. is, I guess you can look at your counter. This right here is telling me that was about almost 25, 30 seconds long. That could be a full solo in a song right there, right? But we don't want to just leave it there. We want to be more instrumental about it, so we're gonna have this thing a bit longer. So then you can move to idea number 2, which is fragmentation. What we're gonna do is take elements from either A or B or both, and then break them apart, and then use those as small fragments to play up the neck. And these fragments, you can either be melodic in nature or they can be rhythmic in nature. So if I play that line one more time to kind of expand on it, to give you an example. If I take an element of it, that right there, see that first part, I can use that as a fragment to make my solo longer. So if I do this. Oh, let's do it. Right, see what I did right there? I took the hammer off the first one after I screwed it up a few times, thinking what I was going to do. It's all done in one take. A whole lesson done in one take. So we have the first part here. I took that hammer on. It made that a little fragment that I played up the neck. So you have. And then played a fragment of B right there, the same rhythm. So I used that hammer on to kind of move around the neck a little bit. Another thing you can do, right, so put the backing track back on, and I take that fragment, play with that fragment for a little bit, right, because that was the second half of A. And then an even smaller fragment. So I'm taking elements of A and B, breaking them apart, and using those fragments to get me up and down the neck to different spots. So if I play A, B, A plus fragments, it'll be this. A again. You almost forgot it. There it is. So see there, I took that fragment and moved it around a little bit to kind of build tension with the solo. And after making a couple mistakes in there, what I was doing, I was kind of playing around to seeing like where does it want to go, right? And the other thing too is how long can you play that fragment for before it kind of starts losing its appeal. So if I just did that like 8 times in a row, it's gonna be awesome anymore. But if I do it like maybe 2 or 3 times, it's gonna work. So if I did this. See? That worked just fine. Back to A. B. Back to A. Right, anyway. So that right there, I made my solo longer by taking a fragment, and I did it 2 or 3 times, and I realized at that point, I think it kind of had run its course, it was time to go back. So, but you're not restricted in doing fragmentation just one idea, you can do it multiple ideas. So say for example, I like that, I can just do the bend. Is a fragment of A, right? Maybe make it a ghost bend, because I think I ghost bended in the melody. So I'll do ghost bends. So I'll do this one more time. 1, 2, 3. So there, what I did was I had 2 different fragments I was working with. One was this, right? And the second fragment was just simply a ghost bend, taken from that same lick right there. So they're all material that's been derived from A. I'm just taking in small pieces and deciding like, okay, I'll put this little piece, this piece for the night. The idea though is that everything links back to what was presented in A. That's why I say keep it simple, stupid, is because if you throw everything in the kitchen sink at your A, when you go to develop these ideas, it's gonna be like too many things going on. You want a couple ideas in your A, like I said before, like last time, it's the note choices that you're after, not necessarily a bunch of different techniques. But you want you want something very simple, and then what you're gonna do is gonna take that and you're gonna develop that idea into something more flashy, right? So this sounds way better. Time for fragmentation. Fragmentation again. So they can play that faster, probably would sound better. Something like that. But anyway, that's me just real quick on the fly trying to create a solo based off of AABA. So your AABA is like your material that you come up with that's interesting sounding, and then you play that, and the fragmentation afterwards are little pieces of A and B played in different spots in the scale. And then that's how you create your solo, or one way to start creating your solo. And that's how you make them like longer and longer and more interesting, right? That was just me making one on the spot. You know, if you give me more time, I'll make something more interesting or more flashy, but then you kind of get the idea of how the whole thing works. So cool, so work on that for me. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them on over. And if not, I will see you same time next time. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.